Good evening. Thank you for joining. This is going to be part two on the series What Now, which we began discussing last week. Last week we spoke about the crucial time that we're in right now, and it's really, really serious. We've developed the idea that, as strange as this might sound, but this is the reality, that Moshiach came already, but the Geula didn't happen yet. And it's a very important distinction. Bias HaMashiach happened, but the Geula didn't happen. And we brought this, and I brought the proof of this in the Sfas Emes, who says that that's the way it's going to be. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu came to Mitzrayim, and he came and revealed himself and said that the Geula is happening, but the actual Geula took 2 years, something like that, until it happened. So you imagine the tremendous responsibility we have on getting it done. Like, what are we waiting for? It's so many years already. The Rebbe said in 1991 that Moshiach is here already. And that he's already b'his galus. He's already here in the world. He's already b'his galus. And now it's just a matter of the actual redemption taking place. I mentioned to you then that in that famous talk that the Rebbe gave, that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave on the 28th day of Nisan, the Rebbe then was sad, like, how is it possible that there are 10 Jews that are here together, and more than 10 Jews, a room full of Yidden, and we're living in the highest moment of Bias HaMashiach, and it seems like no one really cares. And they're not shaking the worlds like how that we want Moshiach now. Moshiach has to happen. Obviously, the Rebbe can sense that the problem is, tzaddikim know things that we don't know, that he can sense and he can feel that the Geula is not urgent. It's not urgent by the people. And even if they're crying Ad Masai and they're saying we want Mashiach now and all of that, it's not with an emes. And then the Rebbe says, what else can I do? I've done whatever I can. That Yidden should be able to say Ad Masai mit an emes. I done all that I can. He says, but the Eitz HaYechida, the only thing I have, he says, is limsar inyan aleichem. I can give ibegeben the inyan zu eich. I will give it over to you. But we have to understand that. What does it mean, give it over to us? How in the world, if he didn't do it, how in the world are we going to do it? How are us little schleppers gonna do the task that all the tzaddikim from all the generations didn't do, and we're going to have to do it? What does it mean, limsar inyan ibegeben the inyan von eich? I will give it over to you. And then he says, "V'hi ratzon, let it be the will that soif kol soif, Yidden are going to action zechayin. We're going to be stubborn, and there will be a few of you that will be stubborn, and maybe 2 or 3, and you'll with an akshanis, and you'll do all that you're able to do. In which way?" He said, in a manner of oiros tetayu b'kelim detikun. Oiros tetayu means energy from the world of chaos. Which means we're not dealing over here with something that you do very, very calmly, very this. You ain't going to bring Mashiach like that. It's got to be some power, some energy that's infinite and wild. Raw energy emanating from the essence of your soul, in which you're burning, which if you would just let it to be as is, then you will look like a total Meshuggah, like a person who landed from the world of chaos. But the Rebbe said there's a condition. Since the whole inyan of Mashiach is to draw God into the world, not to break the world, so you have to find the kelim of tikkun. You have to find the rectified vessels to be able to do it in a normal way that the world can handle it and hold it. But that was the instructions that the Rebbe gave, the formula that he gave, what it is that needs to be done. And he said, Yiratzen, that so shall be, that eventually there will be. Let me tell you the lashon over there. That there will be, the lashon that he said over there is as follows. Yiratzen shasoif kol soif yimtu asara mi Yisroel. We're going to find 10 Jews, sheyis akshu, ein action, that they have to muchrach to bring the Geula, and lehevi b'poil asagula amitis v'yiratzen. Let it be the will that we'll find 1, 2, or 3. Sheyitaksu eitza, and this is very important words that we're going to soon talk about. Yitaksu eitza. Yitaksu eitza means you will come up with, you'll sit down and figure out a way. That's what it means. Yitaksu Eitzah, you'll come up with a way. Ma lasos, what to do, v'ketzad lasos, and how to do. And the main inyan is that you'll actually be piled the Geula. Okay, for those who know the history of that time, this talk threw Chabad, threw Lubavitch on a spin. Everybody was shook into the core, because you can see when the Rebbe was talking about it, that it was something that all the talks that came after that Shabbos took on a whole new meaning and a whole new approach. And the sichos that were coming week after week after that was emphasizing Moshiach more and more and more and more. For example, Parshas Tazria Metzora, the Rebbe says, Behemshach, in a continuation, Lahameduber, what was been spoken, Vahamudgish, that which has been emphasized, B'yoyser Bizmana Achrin, primarily in the latter time, Al Dvar HaTzoyrich B'Pulasoi Shakol Echad Ve'echad Mi Yisroel. This that is necessary of the Pu'ulas of every single Jew. Again, the Rebbe is not speaking to certain Chassidim, those that are known to be the daveners of 12 hours, or those with the biggest Chabad houses, or those the biggest Knackers, or this and that. The Rebbe didn't say that. He said the Achrayus is on every Jew. The Rebbe is not talking to Lubavitch. Let's understand this. The Rebbe never said, I'm talking to Lubavitch or Chassidim. The Rebbe says, I'm talking, the Achrayus is on every single Jew. And he says, that we should do everything that's dependent on us. To get it done, to get the job done. In Parshas Achrei Mois, that was Parshas Tazria Metzora. Again, this Chavches Nisan came out still before Parshas Shmini. The next Shabbos, the first Shabbos after was Parshas Shmini. And then came Parshas Achrei Mois. And then came Parshas Tazria Metzora. Parshas Achrei Kedoshim, the Rebbe also opens up, and he says, I think it might have even at the beginning of the Sikh, he says, in connection to that which we've spoken recently, regarding the Geula Amitis Vashlema, and how urgent it is, V'oides HaPu'ulis, and regarding the Pu'ulis, Shetzarech Kol Yehudi Lasos, that every single Yid has to do, Kedei Lahevi Asa Geula, in order to bring Moshiach. Shabbos Parshas Emor, Behemshach Lahameduber, this continuation to what we have spoken, Oides Inyan Geula. And in all these places, in the footnote on the bottom, the Rebbe says, regarding, what do you mean, Mahameduber, spoken when? At that Sicha, Chav Chasiva. He's always being Mitzayin, he's always bringing us to that talk. It seems like, clearly, if you look a little into it, you can see that talk was not just an extra oomph in the extra inspiration to be on top of all the inspiration that has been coming from the Lubavitcher Rebbe from when he took his role as mantle of leadership of Lubavitch, when he said the first Maayon that our job of our generation is to complete the work of all the generations and bring Moshiach. And that has been his motive and his drive and his oomph through his entire leadership, and this is what he's been driving. The entire Chabad operation was geared towards this one inyan, to complete the work and bring Moshiach. It wasn't just Kiruv of the Jewish people, it wasn't just Avos Yisroel. All these inyanim, but something deeper and deeper than it could. The nucleus of it all is a drive to Mashiach. Yet, as much as it was all the time, there is something from that talk and onward that has been, which is say, there is a change, and we'll see what's that change. What did the Rebbe then want, and what changed? Is it just an urgency? Is it just added energy? Or are we dealing with something completely different? Are we dealing with a complete, a whole different reality? And it seems like we're dealing with a whole different reality. So it continued basically till the last sichas we heard from the Rebbe in Parshas Vayakel. Actually, this week, Parshas Vayakel was when Chav Zayin Adar happened after this coming Shabbos. Actually, it's an interesting idea that year was an exact carbon copy of this year, or rather, this year is a carbon copy of that year. It's exactly the same. Everything is the same. You can technically use a calendar from 1992 for this year, and I think you're going to have the days and not the English date, not the secular dates, but the Jewish dates are going to be exactly the same exact setup. Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. It's exactly the same year. with all the details. That's why this is such an important year, because that year was the year where there was such revelation regarding Moshiach, and this year is an exact copy of that. So the koiches are here, the energies are here for the Geula, and as we can all tell that the world is ready, as we can tell, you hear it, you can sense it in the world, that people are preparing for Moshiach today and thinking about Moshiach much more than ever before. So that's really, really amazing, and it's interesting that it's connected. It's a very unique year. So we really need to understand what exactly can be that the Rebbe dropped a bomb on us, this big, huge thing, without giving us guidance and without having the understanding of what we need to do. What exactly is asked of us to do? Now, I would say like this, being as the Rebbe himself said, that what he is giving us, or what he's asking us to do is oirois tetoyu, which means giving us inyanim that are just unbelievably, they're infinite, we're dealing with the deepest and the highest truths and realities. That is not, in a sense, it's not diminished, it's not adjusted, and because that's what Moshiach is. Moshiach is allowing the essence of God to come to the world. That's the difference between creation and Torah and mitzvahs, and the purpose of Torah and mitzvahs, which is Mashiach, after all the classes that we learned. Creation, Hashem contracts himself and allows only a tiny little bit of his energy to be transmitted into the creation to create. And God remains above and outside of creation and above the creation, beyond the creation. The whole point of Torah and mitzvahs is Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I'm giving you my very self. In other words, I'm giving you oiros to tell you. I'm giving you my true self as I am, unperceivable, unknowable, uncontainable. And in Torah and mitzvahs, we actually channel and bring down these oiros to tell you, the infinite light, the essence of the Eibishter. But it remains, it's here in the world, but not revealed. And what's Moshiach? Moshiach is the final purpose of it. And that is that all of that is revealed. So we can understand that Moshiach, the time of Moshiach, and the whole revelation of Moshiach is super wild. It's unbelievable. It's like infinite light. Right? So as a result of that, the sichos that were spoken after that Shabbos, I should say, frightened many people. To the point that there are many, many great scholars of Chassidus who know a lot of Chassidus, but they just don't know what to do with those talks. And many, many times there were people who shied away from it. And it's almost like, we don't know what the Rebbe wanted. We don't know what the Rebbe said. I mean, it's just, we don't know. And that's this general attitude. And what's beautiful, and that's painful, but what is beautiful is that after a period of time, we can go back to those talks and learn them slowly and analyze them carefully and actually see that there is a methodical direction given in those talks. And it's actually, it follows a certain pattern. The Rebbe started with one idea, what needs to be done, and then he increased, and then he increased, and then he increased. And when you take and you analyze them carefully, you can get a real, what we call Teirasai Shel Moshiach, instructions from Moshiach of what needs to do the final work to get the job done. And if we have the instructions and we were given the task, it's absolutely a given that we have the abilities to do so. And we're chas v'shalom to shy away and say we can't. We have to do it, and it's the biggest chus to do it. The question is, what is it that we need to do? So last week I mentioned that if you look at the sichos, we can divide it into four periods. After that powerful dropping of that powerful task that was given to us, that it's our responsibility, every single one of us as an individual, to bring Mashiach. After that, we were given, the sichos that were given to us basically say, if we can divide them into 4 different messages that were given. And they were as follows. Just give me 1 second here. In the end of Nisan, which was this first sicha, in the month of Iyar, the Rebbe primarily emphasized that every single one of us needs to do whatever we can, lahavi liyamoisa Moshiach. That means that all of our focus and all of our energy and all of our drive needs to be driven to bring Moshiach. That itself has many nuances and ideas developed in the talks of Parsha Shmini, Tazria Metzora, Achrei Mois, Emor. Those were the weeks. After that, from Tammuz, Av, and Elul, the Rebbe introduced a deeper level. Not only to be driven with all of our focus and our energy to bring Moshiach, but the being that we are living right now, al saf, in the words of the Rebbe, al saf ha'geula, at the threshold of the redemption. So many inyanim of the redemption are already present in the world, in the cosmos. They're already here. And being that we are told that we have to start living with the times, that in every Yom Tov, you don't just commemorate the holiday or follow certain customs or do certain mitzvahs, but you're supposed to live the spirit of the Yom Tov. You're supposed to live in the energy of Yetzias Mitzrayim on Pesach. Live in the energy of God's coronation on Rosh Hashanah. You're supposed to live in the energy of the triumph of light over darkness on Hanukkah. That's your life. That's your entire. So you have to start living. So the Rebbe says, being that we're living now in the beginning of Yom Mashiach, we're able to, and therefore it's our avodah to start living in Mashiach's consciousness, in Mashiach's reality, which means that our avodas Hashem needs to accelerate to levels so deep and so high that are unbelievable. In other words, things that were not possible for the Jewish people throughout all of history, now they are possible. Because we're now already in the twilight zone, we're in the transitioning state, and therefore you could live in certain truths, in certain depth of connection to the Eibers that you couldn't do before. And we're going to see the examples for that. That theme reoccurred throughout the summer, as I said earlier, of Tammuz, of and Elul, all the way through Cheshvan. In the end of Cheshvan and in Kislev, the Rebbe started talking about a new idea, and that is that we have to start focusing on the avodah, which is also a deep avodah, on the avodah of Kabbalah's Pnei Moshiach Tzidkein, the actually going to receive the face of Moshiach Tzidkein. And then finally, in the end of Kislev and Teves, the nature of the sichos changed. When the Rebbe said everything is here already, Moshiach is here, we're sitting by the table already. Shara Bar and the Leviasan, which means the meat and the fish of the days of Mashiach, which represent two powerful spiritual, godly things. All of that is already here. We only have to open up our eyes. So our avodah has to be achieved through opening our eyes. Interesting. By each one of these four tasks, again, one of them is to be driven with all of our energy and might and focus to bring Moshiach. Phase number 2, to start living already in the Geula. We'll get to that. Number 3, to receive, to go out and greet Moshiach Tzidkein. Number 4, to open our eyes and see the Geula. You see, you can live in the Geula and you're not seeing it yet. You're living in it. But one is that you actually perceive the Geula happening around you in the world. Interesting, the Rebbe said that all those 4 things are accomplished. If you want to accomplish them, and you want to start living them, the method to reach all 4 of them, he connected this idea throughout all these phases, is one thing. An increased, devoted, learning and studying the inyanim in Torah of Geula and Mashiach. When you learn the subject of Mashiach, you learn it, you understand it. Where? The Rebbe said, first in Torah Shebiksav, and which means the written Torah, which is Tanakh, And then you learn it in Torah Shabbat Peh, what the Midrashim say, what the Zohar says, and Gemara and places like that. And then you go down and learn it, and what the Rambam, and Halacha, and so on and so forth. And Be'ikr, the Rebbe says, you appreciate and learn it from Pnimiyas HaTorah, the inner part of the Torah. You learn the Chassidus that explains the concepts of Moshiach, the inner soul of Moshiach. And you learn it not doing someone a favor, but you really learn it till you're actually occupied in this learning. So then this reality starts to permeate you very, very deeply, and you become, number one, Moshiach obsessed. Number two, your mind and your heart and your soul can transform into Moshiach consciousness, because Torah changes the mind. So you start thinking like a Moshiach Yid. You start feeling Moshiach emotions, so you can start living in the days of Moshiach. You're ready to be Makabel Pnei Moshiach Tzidkenu also, because you appreciate who Moshiach is, what he's all about, and therefore you can go greet him. And number four, you start seeing in everything in the world, you see Geula, you see Moshiach. All comes from learning about Moshiach. I can say in my own little life, I'm still very far from this Inyan in many, many ways. A lot. But what happened to Reuven Wolf that he became such a fire Moshiach ball over here? What happened? Like I was teaching Chassidus here for 7-8 years, and I was speaking all kinds of very nice things, but Moshiach was not necessarily the top. What happened was, it was always inside my heart, a burning fire, but it was never like fully consuming me. It consumed me after I found this book, and I read it 2-3 times from cover to cover, and I suddenly saw the whole picture. How all of existence and all of reality and everything drives to one nekuda and one point. And when that happens, it transforms you, it changes you. And this is what you see. That's what you see in current events and in politics. And this is what burns a fire in you, because you know you need to get it done, and you can't stop until you get it done. It gives you bravery to say things that I generally would never have even dared to even think before or to say, and now I'm saying things openly that I wouldn't have said. All these things is because your Moshiach energy is flowing in your blood. The Rebbe said that's the only way to do it. The only way to do it is seriously learn the subject. Torah changes your mahus, puts you into that space. So this is very important. On a deeper level, what did the Rebbe want? Because one can ask the question, how can a shmegegi like me bring Moshiach? I'm just one little person. And the answer, what the Rebbe really wanted, was one nekuda. Moshiach Tzidkenu is the deepest neshama there is. The highest soul. As we learned, we spoke about this many times, there are 5 levels of neshama: nefesh, ruach, neshama, chai, yechida. And those 5 levels of soul are connected to 5 super personalities of the Jewish people, super tzaddikim. Nefesh is David HaMelech, ruach is Eliyahu HaNavi, neshama is Moshe Rabbeinu, chai is Adam HaRishon, and finally Mashiach Tzidkenu is the yechida of the Jewish people. Yechida represents the deepest level of neshama that's connected with the Eibishter. That's one with Hashem. The Rebbe actually makes a tremendous chiddush in the very last sichos. What people don't realize, those people who study Chassidus, and they're geniuses of Chassidus, it's an amazing thing. They don't realize that the greatest revolutionary thoughts in Chassidus, like mind-blowing in Yanim, are in these Nun Aleph and Nun Beis sichos. They're very, very amazing. A lot of people, as I said earlier, because it was such intense light, and we were hit right afterwards with such darkness, the kind of the brightness, afraid to look at this light and read it. But one of the things that the Rebbe is megala over there is he says, Yechida shebenefesh is only a name of your neshama. It's not your real essence. The Medrash says the neshama has 5 names. That means it's only a name. Even Yechida is only a name. And a name is a revelation. It's not essence. You are not your name. So what's the neshama itself? The Rebbe says the neshama itself is beyond Yechida. What's the neshama? Etzem ha-neshama is not unified with the Eibishter. Etzem and Neshama is the Eibishter. It's one. The Etzem of a Jew's Neshama is one, mamish, with Atzmus Malchus, the very essence of God Himself. Therefore, the Rebbe says, the Etzem of Moshiach Tzidkenu, the essence, since Moshiach is not just the Yechida, Moshiach Tzidkenu, his true Inyan is that he is the Etzem Haneshama of the Jewish people. Being that he's the Etzem Haneshama of the Jewish people, he is completely one with the Eibishter too. And what does Moshiach Tzidkenu, what's his avodah? His avodah is to uncover, to reveal, to bring forth this Yechida Shebenefesh that's in every Yid, or even deeper, Moshiach Tzidkenu's avodah is to uncover the Etzem Haneshama of every Yid, which is one with the essence of the Eibishter, and we can say that depth of soul of every single Jew, that is the Nitzutz Moshiach that's in you. There is a Nitzutz Moshiach in each and every single one of us. And what did the Rebbe want of us in that year when the Rebbe was demanding of us and still demands of us today? What was the instructions? Reveal your essence and start living from your essence. You see, once you uncover that Etzem HaNeshama that's at your very, very core, automatically Moshiach is going to become your drive, your obsessive drive, and you're not going to stop until Moshiach comes. Relentlessly, with an infinite drive, unstoppable. Put it this way, the Jew unplugged. The raw Jew unplugged. Why? Because at the Eibishter's essence is a burning desire to have a home in this world. Chassidus reveals to us what was the true motive of creation that has been hidden throughout all of history, even from the biggest tzaddikim. Torah never spoke of this because it wasn't revealed throughout history. What's the underlying, deepest inner core beginning of all of creation and all of existence? It begins in the Eibishter's essence as a desire, avataiva, that the Eibishter wants a dira b'tachtoim. It says so in the Medrash. No one explained it. No one spoke of it until we got very, very close to the actual coming of Moshiach, when the process of Geula started with the revelation of the Baal Shem Tov. And then it started, the Baal Shem Tov is Mashiach's light, as it is transcendental, like we discussed in the earlier classes. But after Mashiach's light is transcendental, the point of it is to reveal it in the world, and that begins with Rav Shneur Zalman of Liadi, who starts taking Mashiach from the seventh heaven to the sixth heaven. He starts bringing it down, and that's the idea that he brings the Baal Shem Tov's teachings into intellect, into seichel, into Kabbalah. I want to say something. Today I was Zoiche, 2-3 days ago, I got a shipment of Svarim. No, actually, I ordered this a few months ago. There was a sale in Eretz Yisrael. There's a Yerid HaChassidus in Eretz Yisrael, I like Svarim, and I bought a bunch of Svarim for the shul. And I finally got it Friday. And I was able to, I came of Shabbos to daven, and I found the boxes right over here, Friday before Shabbos, and all I was to bring the boxes in. But last night I opened it up, and today I was already in this little playground of books here, and I had a fantastic time. And I found treasures of Chassidish Svarim from the greatest people. Today I found the Chumash of the Kamarna, okay, Heichel Bracha, a Kabbalist, the highest, and it's sweet like anything. I got lost in Megillas Esther. It was beautiful. I have schayra to talk now for 2 weeks. It's gewaldig, but it's lofty. It's not in seichel. If you're a Chabad Chassid and you know the seichel, then you can it's Kabbalistic. It's all above. It's in Hechere Himlin. It's in a higher realm. It's dazzling, but it's not feasible in seichel, in the intellect, and the mind. It's not becoming part of the reality of the world. The chiddush of the Alter Rebbe, Rav Shneur Zalman of Liadi, is that he combined, he was able to draw the Ein Sof, the lights of Moshiach, the Einoid Malvadai of the Baal Shem Tov, the Echad of the Baal Shem Tov, which is Moshiach. He was able to bring it into seichel, into intellect. That's why the Alter Rebbe, so it's already the final process of Geula. Now is going to come 7 generations, bringing the Shekhinah down. That's when we are going to uncover the ultimate inner kavana, which is burning in the essence of God, which is the whole purpose of Torah mitzvahs, which is what? To have a home in this world. And until the Alter Rebbe said it and spoke of it, no one knew this, or no one paid attention to it. And as the generations continue, the Alter Rebbe speaks about Dira B'Tachtonim. The 5th Chabad Rebbe reveals and explains the Dira B'Tachtonim in such an unbelievable way. And he reveals and he shows you how this is all. You can learn it's in the Sefer Tafresh Samach Vav, mind-boggling book of Chassidus. And in that Sefer, he really goes through this whole idea of Dira B'Tachtonim in a very, very expansive way, much, much more than his great-grandfather. Why? Because as the lights of Moshiach, the revelation of the Eibishter's essence, is coming closer to the atmosphere, you can feel more the burning drive by the Eibishter that he wants Moshiach, and the pleasure that the Eibishter has from having his dira in this world. And this starts becoming the drive of Chassidim who learn Chassidus. We start we're tuning into the Eibishter's pleasure, as we're going to see soon, and it is stimulating and opening us up to our deeper parts of our neshama, where we align with him, and therefore his desire and his pleasure is really felt as our pleasure and our desire, and suddenly we're driven in his drive, and it becomes our drive, not his drive, and that's what the Rebbe is talking about. The spark of Mashiach in you is to uncover that point where you and the Eibishter are totally one. And therefore, his desire is your desire. And then Yiddishkeit and your observance of Torah and mitzvahs stops becoming for ulterior motive. It stops even to become as obligatory as you have an obligation. I have my obligations, whatever my obligations are, as if I am doing something for someone else. It's your business, and I am doing something for you. It's not that. It becomes so much deeper. It's not his business, it's our business. Because his desire to have a home in this world is our desire, because we and him are one. And when it's your own desire, you can't sleep at night until it gets done. So let me explain that a little better. And that's what we mean, the nitzutz of Moshiach. So let me just try to explain this. And I say the one that really did the best job on explaining this and really analyzing it so well is Rabbi Shalom Dov Ber Wolf from Tzfas. In this book, fascinating. Everybody should learn it 10 times. And then you could look up the sources. Everything is sourced. He just takes you through in a very methodical way the whole understanding of this whole idea. So to appreciate it, let's work from outside in. When the Rebbe said, Tut alts was ihr kennt. Tut alts was ihr kennt. Do everything you can to bring Moshiach. And if you take a look at that sikha, you see the Rebbe initially was, I don't want to say the word complaining, but you can see frustrated. And he says, you guys are not crying for Mashiach with an emes. You're not crying for Mashiach with an emes. You know what means crying for Mashiach with an emes? Let me share with you over here. This is even deeper than crying for Mashiach with an emes. But I think the Rebbe wanted something even deeper than this, that we're going to see in a moment. The Kloizer Rebbe brings from his Zayd the Yismach Moshe. Everybody heard of the Yismach Moshe? Was father of the dynasty of Sigit. Eventually Satmar comes from there, but Kloizer is also an anacle from the Yismach Moshe. It is known the Yismach Moshe was which I put, like the Rebbe uses the term about himself, crazy about Moshiach. Okay, he waited for Moshiach. He had clothing, Shabbos Digga clothing, waiting on his bed all the time. Every time he heard a noise, a commotion in the town, he went running out and with full of excitement that this is Moshiach coming. We know similar to that by the Ropshetz Chassidic, but the Yismach Moshe was on a level in waiting for Moshiach. They say that he was an incarnation of Yirmiyahu Hanavi. That's what big tzaddikim said. And Yirmiyahu Hanavi was the one who saw the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, and therefore it's burning in him. That's what they said about him. So the Yismach Moshe said, Golo v'yadu lefnei Hashem Yisbarach. He says it's known before the Eibishter that if I would have known from my youth, that I'm going to become old, and Mashiach lo yavai, and Mashiach will not come. It's known before you, God, he said. This he said in his last drasha, I think, or is one of his last drashas. No, his last drasha. He said, if I would have known, it's known before you, Hashem, that if I would have known when I was young that I'm going to get old and I'm going to age and Mashiach lo yavai, Mashiach won't come, I would have never been able to live I would never be able to withstand it. My pain would be so strong that literally I would not be able to make it. I would have died from my pain had I known that I'm going to get old and Mashiach. Allah, he says, Min hashamayim, from heaven they tricked me and they pushed me. Every day I was thought it's coming tomorrow, and from year to year, and I'm asking of you, Ribono Shel Olam, he said, is it a kunz, oisnar and an altanar? Is it a kunz to trick an old fool? That's what he said about himself in his extreme humility. Is it a trick, Eibishter? Like you're fooling an old fool? He says, I'm only asking you one thing. Let him at least come now. At least now. I'm old, but let him come at least now. And if you're going to think I'm doing this for my own desire, I need this for my own personal gratification, he says, I am willing and ready that they should burn me, he says, and spread my ashes on the 7 seas, and I will never know that Moshiach came, but he should become for the sake of the Eibishter's L'man Yisgadol v'Yiskadeh Shemei Rabba. You know what that means? Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh, that not only physically he won't be alive, he won't even know that it ever happened. That means it's nothing about me. I just want it to happen. Psh, unbelievable. In any case, what was I saying earlier when I brought this? Everybody I'm sure forgot. What was I saying earlier when I brought this? Saying what means Mesiras Nefesh, but before that I was mentioning something. So when the Rebbe wanted them, it should bother us. It should bother us. And the Rebbe said, why is it not bothering you? And after, I said, but now, because I have no choice but to give it over to you. And Yiratzen, that what? As we said earlier, Yiratzen, that there's going to be an action. Some of you are going to be akshanim and you're going to get it done. So it's interesting that he didn't say, and now you're going to cry with an emes. It's almost like the crying with an emes is not going to work anymore. That's done. I tried to do it that way. It didn't work because you guys are not backing me up the way we should. So instead, I'm giving you over the inyan, and now what should you do? You're now achrayus. It's your responsibility to bring Moshiach. It's not my responsibility. Now it's your responsibility to bring Moshiach. And therefore, I hope you're going to sit down together and you're going to make some serious planning of what you're going to do. I'm giving this over to you. Yetaksu Eitza. You're going to find Epis on Eitza. Epis on Eitza. Eitza means an idea. Something that we're going to do to bring Moshiach. Which is really a strange thing, because what kind of ideas are we going to come up that the Rebbe didn't come up? We're going to come up with better ideas. I want an idea. What are we going to do? But really need to understand what changed, what was happening over here. So it's interesting, right after the Sikha, right after, Chassidim were like shocked. And the Rebbe started giving out dollars for tzedakah. He said, I'm going to give everybody, in order to help you, I'm going to give you all $1 for tzedakah, and this is going to empower you to hopefully, I'm giving you the koiches. It's not like I'm quitting, I'm out. No, I am giving it over to you, but I'm giving you the koiches to do so. So I'm going to give you all the shlichus to tzedakah, and with that shlichus, you're going to have the empowerment. As he started giving the dollars, the Chassidim started screaming out Mosai, really, really strong. And when one of the Chassidim went by, the Rebbe said to him, right in the beginning, one of the first Chassidim, the Rebbe said, Loi paga v'loi noga. What that means is, I see that my words had no impact at all. Loi paga v'loi noga. What? Because the Rebbe didn't want you should scream more now. Okay, now we're going to scream. Now we're going to scream. No, that's not what I want. Perhaps if the whole room would have fell silent and no one would say a word, and the Rebbe would sense that it's sinking into us. Oh my gosh. It's my responsibility now. It's not his anymore. Till now we were foot soldiers. He had a Rebbe, a tzaddik, does what he needs to do, himmelish inyanim, whatever, and down here in this world to make Moshiach happen. We follow orders. It's his business. We're his foot soldiers. We're his agents. We work for him. All right? That's what's told now. The Rebbe says, no. Now it's your business. Had the Rebbe seen suddenly that silence, that everybody's looking at themselves and really the Rebbe wouldn't say, like, that's exactly what I meant. Now the achrayus is yours. So what happened? Because Chassidim didn't get it. So the next Shabbos, this I think was a Thursday night, on Parsha Shmini, by the Farbrengen, a Chassid stood up. And he said, Rebbe, tzaddik goyzer v'akadosh baruch hu mekayim. A tzaddik is goyzer. A tzaddik decrees. And the Eibishter listens. The Rebbe should decree that Moshiach should come, and for sure the Eibishter is going to have to listen. We know you're a tzaddik, and if you are going to say, decree, Moshiach should come, for sure Moshiach is going to come. The Rebbe's response to this chassid, when he said that, was as follows. The Rebbe said like this: every Yid, men, women, and even children, have the achrayus to add in their avodah to bring Moshiach tzedkenu in the literal sense. It's understood, he said, that there is ein shum makom at all. There's no place at all that instead of doing yourself, you're going to put the work on others. Yismachu, you will lean on others, or you will put the work on other people. This is the avodah of every single person as an individual. Let me share with you a little video that happened that following Sunday. A woman passes by dollars. Hold on, let me start it again. Maybe it wasn't. She's saying, Rebbe, we were counting on you all these years to bring Moshiach. Here we go. It's too heavy for us. It's impossible. She's crying. The Rebbe said, if it's not possible for all Yidden to do it, how are you expecting it from me? I'm only one person. But then the Rebbe says like this. He says, no, you're our father. The Rebbe said, if I am the Rebbe, hold on. The Rebbe keeps on insisting again. If I am a Rebbe, then I have told you very clearly that it has to be done by you. And he turned around right over there to all the people that were standing. By you, and by you. which means there's something very, very, very strong going on, unbelievable. The Rebbe is saying that now, everything from above, everything is done already. It must be done by us. But what? So here's an interesting thing. Let's first start, let's work our way from outside in. That Parshas Shmini, the Rebbe clarified. That happened on Thursday. On Parshas Shmini, the Rebbe clarified and he said, what is it? What are you going to do now? What are we going to do? What new projects? What exactly are we going to do? The Rebbe says, what I mean is a haisafa b'toyru b'mitzvahs b'limudat Torah. That you should add on in limudat Torah, in the revealed part of Torah, in the Chassidus learning of Torah, and doing mitzvahs behidur, but it should be done with the matara, with the emphasis, with the goal for Bias HaMashiach. That means the Rebbe says, first of all, let's really get into it. Everybody. More limudat Torah, more doing mitzvahs. A lot more, because now there's a call of the hour. Moshiach has to come. The next talk, I'm trying to go through all the things the Rebbe said. And when he said that our job is to make Moshiach come, he later interpreted, I'm not looking for new things. What am I looking for? Haisafa and Torah mitzvahs. And Kiyam mitzvahs behidur. Okay, that was on, here, let me go through the various different things that he said. Here we go. B'mam is bates avodah zu. What expresses this avodah? B'pashtus. Haisafa b'Torah mitzvahs, limud Torah, niglu Torah, pnimius Torah. The different levels of Torah study. Kiyam mitzvahs behidur, doing mitzvahs in a very, very pure way. And all this should be done with its sapia, with its strong weighting. Chazaka l'giyula, achakaloi b'chol yom sheyava. Okay, that was on Shabbos Parshas Shmini. 2 weeks after that, Parshas Achrei Mois Kedoshim, the Rebbe introduces another angle of what needs to be done to bring the Giyul. And now the Rebbe is turning to businessmen. And the Rebbe is machadish in this talk. Since the whole inyan of Bias HaMashiach is that dira b'tachtoinim, that Hashem has a home in this world, that means it's not just enough to increase in spiritual things, but rather we need to put extra emphasis in revealing godliness in the world. It has to be an avodah that involves the Gashmistic world. In other words, if there might be someone amongst you who's going to think that you have to close your business now, I mean, after hearing words like this, it's you, and you. So every single store or every single business should have been shut down. And we're going to go to shul, and we're going to sit and we're going to say Tehillim all day. We're going to cry. That's really should have been the reaction. I don't know if that was the reaction, but it's quite possible. By the way, there's a yid, Moshe Anatiyan. He had a brother, Rachamim Anatiyan. Moshe Anatiyan lives here in Los Angeles. His brother, Rachamim Anatiyan, wrote to the Rebbe a letter, and he said that there's a boy, I don't know if it's his son, who every single day runs up to the roof to look if Moshiach is coming. A little boy, innocent boy. And he's running up to look. And the Rebbe then said, in das hab ich gemeint. Meaning, when I spoke about the tzipiyah, the sheminit mit an emes, is like this little boy who every single day is running up on his roof. Similar to what I said earlier about the Yismach Moshe, but the Rebbe expected us from all of us. But again, this was before the Rebbe says it's your achrayas. Okay. What does he say over here? Kol Bal Asik, every business person has to look for ways how to reveal the Eibishter in his business. Kvoidei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. And to utilize all of his business contacts. In other words, once your life now becomes driven by one goal, and that is to bring Moshiach, so then automatically, and even while you're doing business, what are you going to do? You're going to sneak it in. If you're doing business with a Jew who is so far not keeping mitzvahs, automatically, and you know that getting this year to do a mitzvah has a chance to be that one action. The Rebbe always quotes the Rambam. What does the Rambam tell us? That one person to be machriya of the world, the Rebbe sees this as tipping the scales of the world for Moshiach. To skip the Rambam is not saying stam on some mystical level. When the Rambam says we have to look at the world as half meritus and half chas v'shalom, the opposite of merit, and do one mitzvah and you tilt the whole world for good, the Rebbe then learns that this is Moshiach. So when you know in your business contacts that this one, so automatically you're like, you can't even think about business because what's in your head? How am I going to get this guy to roll up his sleeves and put on the tefillin? In other words, because that becomes, there are times when you're going with for a business contact and you're doing something, I don't know, you're taking him out for lunch, or you're doing, and you know that this is a moment, and this is your opportunity, that you can get this guy interested in this business, and if you can make a killing. We're talking about a crazy amount of money. So you're talking about family, talking about sports, or you take the guy out to a baseball game. Okay, this is a class. You're sitting and talking, and you're watching the whole game, but the whole game is not interested to you, because in the back of your mind, you're waiting for that second in which you can introduce what's really in your mind is you need help with so-and-so. You want him to invest $3 million in your company. So you realize what's going on in your mind is that in you. The Rebbe wanted that Chassidim in their business, not Chassidim, that every single Jew in their business and in their union use every single, why dafka work, dafka in your business? Dafka in your business, the Rebbe says, because since the Hagula tluya dafke b'maseinu v'avadeseinu b'zman hagolos, the time of exile, lasas dira b'tachtainim, to make a dwelling place in the low, and the means to elevate the lower part of the world through kasafa b'kiyam ha'torah and mitzvahs with dvarim gashmiyim, through giving tzedakah and so on and so forth. Also, very strong emphasis that in yonei rishus, in all your material things, it should be kol masechel l'shem shamayim. Okay, so again, Parshas Shmini, he's saying stam ha'safa and Torah mitzvahs. Parshas Achrei Mois Kedoshim, he's talking particularly to do things that connect the world with the Eibishter, that connect mundanity with the Eibishter, mundane things, chulin, that needs to be done, and that's why the emphasis is to business people. And then a few Parshas Emor, the Rebbe adds another angle. Since when Moshiach will come, there will be Gilui Elokus from the highest levels of the divine, which those things are not revealed in worldly things. Those things are only revealed in Chassidus, in Torah, and in Torah itself, in Pnimius HaTorah, in Chassidus. Therefore, if you want to bring Moshiach, put extra emphasis in learning deep Chassidus. Come to the Thursday night shir. Learn deep Chassidus. It might not be so practical to everyday life. Father Shatan. Learn deep Chassidus, because that's Moshiach. Gili Elokus of the highest things. So the Rebbe is giving Seder and Avodah of things that needed to be done. One can argue and say that's all he wanted. Something doesn't fit right, because all of his Nasias, all of his the entire time of the Rebbe's leadership, he's always pushing us for more and more. So you can say it means that now everything you're doing should be Moshiach conscious. That's the emphasis. Whatever you're doing, you did before. Now do it with Moshiach consciousness. But it seems that there's much more over here. And basically I touched on it before, but I'm going to conclude in just the last 5 minutes of the class, this one point. And this is the idea. The idea is as follows. If I have an office, and I have workers in my office. Let's say I run an organization. I can speak of what's my world. I run an organization, and then center, Maayon, and so on and so forth. And one of the things I need to do is cover the bank. And sometimes it becomes pretty challenging to cover the bank. What are you going to do? There's a stress. There's a check coming in today. If it comes in and I don't cover the, whatever, I'm going to be in the red, $15,000. I can't bounce a check. I don't know what to do. Let's say I have a worker or two who can help me. And the guy's making phone calls, trying to get a hold. Maybe we'll speak to this guy. Maybe we'll speak to that guy. If you can get a donation, you won't get a donation, get a loan, get a this, but I need to cover the bank. Okay, the worker works and he does his work, and fine. Comes 5 o'clock, what happens? He's going home. Maybe he'll be nice because he sees it's not 5. Let's say he leaves every day 4:30 and the bank's closed at 5. All right, so usually he leaves at 4 o'clock, let's say. But the bank closed at 5. If he sees I'm under stress, he's going to hang around. All right, 4:30, then fine, he has to go because he got stuck in traffic. He needs to leave. Why is he Getzach? Because it's not his responsibility. It's not his business. It's not his thing. As much as he likes me and cares about me and would like me to be successful and want the business, fine. Soif kol soif. But myself, the buck stops here. It cannot be that 5 o'clock will come and that bank is not covered, because then I can just shut down the place. It cannot be. Then what? I know I can't rely on anybody else. Soif kol soif. The buck stops here. It's my business. It has to get done, and I must do it. How, what, where, and when? I'll turn over the whole world, but I'll get it done. That means Mesiras Achrayas. Mesiras Achrayas means I'm giving you over to your Achrayas. That means it's not, two things. It's not, as I mentioned earlier, his business, and we're executing what he told us to do. Is that we're taking responsibility. But when we're taking responsibility on a deeper level, it's not just taking responsibility, but I'm still taking responsibility for your thing. It's your thing, and I'm taking responsibility. Because you appointed me as to be the responsible one. It's not that. Because then I'm still doing something for you. We're talking about something much deeper. Let's talk about a king. A king has servants who help him out. A king even has soldiers. The servants are very devoted. But servants are devoted that they'll do everything the king tells them to do. Out of love, out of fear, whatever it is. They're devoted. They're his subjects. Then the king has an army. The soldiers in the army, their devotion surpasses a servant. Why? Because they're going to lay their life on their line for their king. Siras nefesh mamish. We're going to die for our king. We're going to go out in the front lines and we're going to die for the king. You couldn't. That's highest. Yeah, true. But there's someone who goes into battle with a deeper commitment than even the soldier who's laying his life on the line. Who is the one who goes into battle with even a deeper commitment than the soldiers who are willing even to die for the king? The king himself. When the king himself goes to battle, he's going not because he's doing something for someone. He's given over to someone to the point that the king is doing it because this is his thing. This is his entire, this victory is his essence. He must win this war because or else he's not a Metzias. He's not him. He has no identity. It's his own thing. As a Jew, there are so many levels. You can be a Jew as a very good subject. A subject of the Eibishter. What's a subject of the Eibishter? A Yid who's a... Thank you. A Yid who's a Yid... A Yid who's a Yid, devoted with Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim. I'm devoted to whatever the Eibishter wants of me. I do every mitzvah. You know what? And I'm not going to do an Aveira Chas V'Shalom. Whatever the Eibishter wants. That's called Kabbalah soil. That's one level of connection. And that's the level of your neshama. That's a servant of Hashem. But you have a deeper level of your neshama called Yechidush Benefesh. Your Yechidush Benefesh, we know, is willing to die for Al Kiddush Hashem. You love the Eibishter so strongly. Your desire to connect the Eibishter is so strong that it goes beyond all other considerations. You're even going to die for God. Yechidush Benefesh, the highest. So the Rebbe is Megala, that's not the highest. Because Soif Kol Soif, after everything is said and done, it's the Eibishter's, it's God's business. Because you love God to death, you're willing even to die for Him. That's Yechidah Shebenef, it's Yechidah. Because nothing will ever separate you. But it's still His business. But there's something deeper than that. And that's the Hiskashrus. That's what I started with today. Etzem HaNeshama, the essence of the Jew's Neshama, is the Eibishter himself. On that level, it's not a devotion, a commitment, a Mesiras Nefesh commitment. It's deeper than that. You're a partner with the Eibishter. It's your business. You and the Eibishter are partners, because you are him and he is you. You're a partner in this project. You have the same interest like the Eibishter has in this project. It's yours. And if it's yours, you're going to get it done. And you can say, how can me little be? This is the idea. Just like we understand that Moshiach Tzedkenu himself, his business is to what? To finalize the Geula. And on what level does he commit himself? This is his identity. Why? Because the Eibishter's project of being a king over the world and living in this world is who Mashiach's identity is. That's Mashiach. Mashiach is the Eibishter's taiva to have a dwelling place in this world. He encompasses that taiva. He is burning with God's burning because his neshama is one with the Eibishter. And guess what Moshiach Tzedkenu says? You and you and you and you. You also have it in a small. You have a little nitzutz. Yes, true. Mashiach is the cosmic essence of this desire and of this want. But each and every one of us is a nitzutz of that. That means you have it within you, that in your own neighborhood and in your own community and in your own place, you have the achrayus. You feel that it's your business. And this itself is Bias HaMashiach. Because what the Rebbe explains in Parshas Toldos, I didn't get a chance to show you how all of this is in the talks of the Rebbe. But in Parshas Toldos, in Nun and Beis, the Rebbe says that since the main inyan of Moshiach is that he's going to be Megala, the essence of God, and also the atzmiistic connection of Yidden to Hashem, the essence of the Neshama, which is one with the Eibishter. That's why the Rebbe says, so now too, in order to bring Moshiach, our avodah has to be essence as we are one and unified with the Eibishter himself. Now you should know that such kind of talk didn't exist in Chassidic lexicon until the Rebbe, and primarily until those last 2 years that we heard the Rebbe speak. Because it's a whole new Gilui, it's a whole new revelation. And this is what I was saying earlier. Before this, we never had the capacity of such a connection and such a devotion and such a commitment. So you'll think, oy gewalt, this is such a high, lofty thing. The Rebbe reveals in a Sikha somewhere else. No, this is the first thing that you feel when you wake up in the morning. This is your essence. In other words, we're not dealing with a madrega. There's no more a madrega. It's not a level. It's a self-actualization, it's a realization, which everybody today has because this madrega was uncovered. The moment the Rebbe gave that sikha, and he gave us those dollar bills, which even though not all the Jewish people were there, but every single Jew alive is there and received that dollar bill. Which means received the Nesinas Koyach to connect on such a deep level that the coming of Mashiach is our private business. And that's what the Rebbe is saying, Latakas Eitza. Latakas Eitza means when it's your business, you don't stop. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. You figure it out, whatever it takes. But do. Like the Rebbe says, Keravel time, turn over the world. You don't have to turn over the whole world. Turn over your neighborhood. Teach, inspire, learn. So that's the... And how do you get there? As I said earlier, by thoroughly learning Torah HaGeula. And the Mamarim and these talks, they uncover this. I personally know people. I mean, I'm ashamed of myself because I know, I learned this and I know this, and still I sleep very comfortably, Baruch Hashem. I never lost sleep on the fact that Moshiach didn't come. But I know personally certain individuals who it's a shlaf in this. They don't sleep, and I know people say gates in levs, in the ladies section, not by the men. The men in Baruch Hashem shlafing very good, but in the ladies section, I do know women who just nonstop. It's like a fire, but I know one. There should be 10, 15. We'll get it done. It darf sich übergeben to the point that it cannot be any other way. That's the Hisgalus. The Hisgalus of Etzem Anasham. The unification of a Yid with the Eibishter on the deepest Moshiach point. That the Achrayas of the Geula we realize is ours. And we can do it. And what do? It doesn't make a difference. The smallest action you're doing can do it. The main thing is that it's that shift in our brain that we don't think that this is a big project, that this is not for us. The Avodah Klal Yisrael did already all the work. For some reason, the last and final straw that will break the camel's back, the Golus, has not yet happened. So what does it take to happen? This deep commitment. We didn't get yet today to the other three phases and what the Rebbe was talking about. For that, Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to introduce that next week, Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, in What Now? Moshiach Decoded, Part 3. But I think we have quite a bit amount of work that we can do this week until we come back and hear what else is on the menu, what else is on the agenda that needs to be done and could be done. But you know what? I'm so excited about what I'm seeing this week happening by the women. I'm so excited about it. That, hopefully we won't have to meet again next week because the women will get it done. You know what I liked most about this woman who's leading this whole thing? Is that the way I hear her speak, is that she's saying, we're going to do it. She's not if, what, maybe, let's try. There's such a determination. We, the women, are going to do it. That's it. Ladies, we're bringing Moshiach. Okay? Maybe she hasn't been burnt out yet. Chas v'shalom, she won't be burnt out. It's going to happen. She's going to do it. I love that confidence. I love that determination. That's what the Rebbe is talking about. And it's amazing how, out of nowhere, this spontaneity of this excitement has hit the Jewish world right now and the Jewish women. And the Eibishter should help, that they should, that you should have the schus to finally get it done. Besimcha, that's the main thing. I don't want to chas v'shalom make anybody shver of the heart. This is the highest, deepest, most enjoyable, pleasurable avodah. It shouldn't be a painful avodah. It should be, but it's that realization. We have the empowerment. We could do it. We will do it. We'll get it done. That which all the generations couldn't do and didn't dream of doing. Yeah, we little, not such little people. After we hear this about how high our neshamas truly are, we're not little. We super giants are going to get this unbelievable job done. Maybe we'll get to see it now, and now.